I've got the scoot back inside now, and I'll show you. I've found the problem with the temperature sensor. I chased the wiring all the way from the sensor on the side of the engine. I'll show you in a second, up to the little gray or the little box area here. I'll show you that in a second too. And the same with the low beam headlight. I chased my tail around on that one for a while, and I found it was a loose wire where it went into the plug. And so I'm going to get set up to flush the distilled water out of the radiator system, and then get that and put in the orange antifreeze for aluminum engines and heads and stuff, without the silicone and the other additives that ruins aluminum engines. So I'll have that in a second. Let me show you where I've the things I've found. The temperature sensor is right in here. It's got the green wire on it, and in the manual it says in order to test this you have to put it in oil. I guess it doesn't read it's not in the water, it's in the oil temperature. There we go. Okay, it's in the oil temperature, and you have to put it in a pot of boiling oil to check it as it goes up. But I think it's probably working, because between here and up on the dash was where the leak or the bad connection was. And that green wire came up down right in here, this one here, from the sensor, and it was in behind here where there's all these vertical little rods going up and down from each of the plugs to use it as a transfer point. And then for the low beam, it was this wire right here. It wasn't fitting on its little vertical inside, and I chased my tail around for my meter for a day or two, trying to figure out what the hell was wrong. And then I went back into the electrical manual, and this is the hot going to the high-low beam switch. It comes out of the power over on the right-hand switch cluster where the engine start and the kill switch is. And then the power comes back and then goes into the switch here on the high-low, and then comes back on this blue and white wire. High beam is blue and the white is low beam. And it was right in behind. Actually, it was on this one here. It was coming in fine, but it was oh, I got the wrong wires here. This one coming in from the switch, this upper one, excuse me. The white wire in here was not making contact once in a while, so once in a while I'd get a reading, and then I'd go do something else and it'd come back and it was off again. So I got that. I had to pull the plug out and jam the little clips in, because I think what happens is, like I had a 78 Scirocco and a Volkswagen, and it had this cluster panel, almost something like on the Honda here, for bringing all the wiring into one spot, and all the little relays, timer relays, washer or windshield wiper relays, and turn signal and all that kind of stuff was built into this. And on the back of it, where the plugs went in for the high and low beam lights, there was a lot of draw on it, and the dang things would get warm and start corroding and losing their tension, and then you get this high resistive connection, and pretty soon it burned out the back, and I had to chase that down and put in a new plug and new pins. And then that became, a problem. Of course, I had the car for 18 years, so I guess you expect it's going to do some bad things after a while. So, and another thing I did here was I went through all the connections. I thought I'd done it before in the when I had the speedometer out, but I took each one of the bulbs out and checked it for being in working condition and continuity and all that kind of stuff. And then the clock, that was the other thing that didn't work, and it took me a second to realize there was a big rubber plug in here, and took that off, and then I pulled off the cover. There was a twist cover that went in there, and there was a SR44 battery, a little round fat battery, which was replaced now by, I believe, a 303 or a 357 is the update on that. I believe it's a silver oxide battery. It's about $5. I'll pick one up tomorrow. But let me get in and change the I've got the side panels off so I can get down here and drain the water. So we'll come back while I'm doing that. Well, I popped the hoses off on here and in here, and then I took the remainder of the jug of distilled water and ran it through the system. I pulled this one up and filled it, and then came back down. It won't do anything because the thermostat is closed right now, but that'll get most of it out. Probably between the upper engine and then down to the water pump, but that's already came out, and it didn't look that bad. A little rusty, but I think that was from the cylinder block, the cast iron sleeve. And so I've got all the water out and hook everything back up, and then I can put the antifreeze in it, and then I can start assembling some of this latter part of the scoot back on. I got the hoses back on. Now I'm going to stick on my Haviland 50/50. It's already got everything in extended life, and it's the things you want to have here. Took me a while to find out where it says on the small print. Right here, it's silicate and phosphate free. Silicate kills the seals on your water pump, and the phosphorus eats up your aluminum. So this is the kind of stuff you want to use for your anything with aluminum engines in them, especially your motorcycles and your scooters. I'll go ahead and put this on a camera. We'll come back. Well, I got it filled up in here, and all the air came out of it, and then I put, you can see down here in the tank, I put some in there too. So we're good to go there. Let me start putting some of the stuff back together again. Well, the right hand brace down there is back on, and then I got the pylon step back there is back on too. They kind of go together with the same bolt on one of them. So I got to go look. I think the next one is the one that fits over the console area, is the next one in line. Well, I've got this plate on now, and I got to take the battery out. The stock battery is taller, and I had to change it. I had it from on the flat terminals, and they need to go to the side. So now I got to get this in. I need to figure out what kind of block I need to stick underneath the battery to get it raised up a little bit, and then I can put on the front cover that goes on this thing. Well, I cut a block to fit in there. I'll probably have to use a screw to pull it out, but it's going to bring this little short T-Max battery up to where you can get to it, and the cover should fit. Let me go ahead and reconnect that. Well, I just brought the last absolute piece up in the loft of the barn down, and it is our seat. And it is pristine. I may have to adjust the catch. Let me clean this up. No scratches, cuts, marks, duct tape. Let me clean it up. You got her all cleaned up and all that 23-year-old Alaskan dust off of it. I mean, that thing's the price of admission. Absolutely perfect. It's probably worth more than the scooter is. Well, I have that panel on, and I have the one on this side. I need to go to the hardware store and get the screw that goes in there. One of them was problematic getting out, and I had to drill it out, and it's got bunged up threads, so I might as well get a new one. And then on that front panel that goes up to the front of the seat, I need to get another one of these to go down, hold that panel down to the back end of the battery box. So onward and upward. Well, I finally found the bolt that went in underneath, right in behind there, and so that rear end is tightened down all the way around, and then I got my bolt that went down in there behind the battery. So now I can start working on the front end. I'm going to put my battery back into the clock. Well, I've got my new battery. It had an SR44, which I think is an alkaline battery, as old as this thing is. But it's now I've got a silver oxide 303 357. It says up here it's a replacement for the SR44. So stick it in there, and hopefully I won't drop it down into the. Oh, what the hell? Well, I was able to rattle it out of this little hole right here. And you put it in the little cup here and then insert it, not the other way around. So put the cover back on and then stick this thing back in again. Now I got to worry about loose connections on this guy.